Good morning. Today is June 5th, 2018, and I am 38 years old today. It is my birthday. And because I'm not doing a podcast on my birthday, I decided to open up the patrons post to everyone. So anyone who is not a patron or everyone who is a patron, I wanted you to share with us today. It's my birthday gift to everyone. Right? You get to spend some time with me. And because I want everyone to wish me a happy birthday, people act like they don't really get off on that or they don't really like that. I love it. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and show me some love for my birthday. I do my best to try to hit everybody up that I can on their birthday. So anyway, there is something that I want to talk about. Donald Trump. And this sun is beaming. It's a beautiful day. I'm doing an old man thing. I literally popped out a chair and put it in my front yard. And I'm sitting in my front yard enjoying the sun on my birthday. So anyway, Donald Trump has quadrupled down on trying to use the NFL protests as a way of bolstering political support for him. We saw with the testimony from Jerry Jones last week that Donald Trump views this as a winning issue for him. For conservatives, it is. It is a culture war. That's really what he's best at. Donald Trump is best at waging this culture war, particularly against black people and protesters. He quadrupled down last night by saying that by uninviting the Philadelphia Eagles, who won Super Bowl 52. He uninvited them, and he claimed that it was because they protested. Well, in reality, it was half the team didn't want to come to the White House. And so he got mad about that. Try to make it about the fact that they protested, and because they protested, they shouldn't come to the White House, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the case either. Factually, he's inaccurate, right? He's factually wrong. Nobody on the Philadelphia Eagles team protested by taking a knee last year. Now, that's irrelevant in my opinion, and I won't use that to justify or to even to make it seem as though Donald Trump's decision was wrong, because even if they had protested, that's their damn business. And the fact that they didn't protest doesn't invalidate other people's protest. But he's so I don't think we should use the fact that he's factually wrong as a means of pointing out Donald Trump's hypocrisy or his ignorance. It's just a matter of fact that none of the Philadelphia Eagles players protested last year. That being said, Donald Trump is using this to push it one step further. He refuses to let this go because he's a little bitch, right? Let's just get that on the record. I want to tweet that. Donald Trump is a little bitch, and he needs this because it makes him feel good. He literally gets off on this kind of stuff. And so he's quadrupling down by saying that it's not enough, right? He's going one step further. You cannot stay in the locker rooms. So he's trying to force. Right. Actually, let me put some emphasis there. So he's now saying it's not enough for NFL players to not take a knee. He's saying that they have to come out of the locker room and they have to put their hands on their heart and stand proudly. So he's gone the extra mile to reinvigorate this protest, right? To reinvigorate the entire conflict. I would have argued that it was never dead in the first place, because I believe the NFL players some of them were going to take a stand on their own. But I know now for a matter of fact, these NFL players, they have to show and prove that they cannot be controlled. I mean, this is literally on two different levels. This is first level. This is literally the government, the federal government, the executive branch of the federal government using its power to try to force people into speech. Right? He's trying to force their physical bodies onto the field to do what he says. That's number one. Number two, he's trying to compel them to stand down from their protest. Right? So this is literally the federal government controlling speech on both ends. He's trying to control their physical bodies and force them to do something. But then two, he's trying to tell them to no longer protest police violence by taking a knee during the national anthem. And yet I hear next to nothing from conservatives, from free speech libertarians, from free speech absolutists on the left. I don't really hear anything about it. This is one of the few examples of the federal government infringing on the free speech of citizens. Like all the other stuff that happens, the deplatforming of Nazis, that happens as a result of people using their, like Antifa, using their free speech right to challenge the free speech of other people. That's a conflict between individuals or groups. But this is an example of the federal government literally using the bully pulpit, using the power and the authority of the White House to crush protest. And yet all of the free speech absolutists and all of the free speech conservatives and free speech libertarians who swear that liberals are progressives are trying to infringe on the free speech of other people by protesting their bigotry, they're not saying a damn thing today. Does the hypocrisy matter? Only in so much as we have to understand what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with people who are making genuine arguments. We're dealing with people who are trying to present their bias as if, here's how you do it. Here's the best way for me to explain it, rather. A guest that I had on my show last Friday, or 2 Fridays ago, I can't really remember, but he was saying this. They're trying to present their position as unbiased and as reality, and trying to suggest that your position and our position is inherently biased, and it is a flawed framework, and it is untrue. So they're trying to say that what they believe, what they see, and what they fight for is the bottom fundamental truth. And what we stand for is just basically a figment of our imagination, something that we constructed. But here we are looking at the exact opposite, like the literal things that they are fighting for and they're supporting is a violation of the same thing that they swear we're doing. It's a perfect example of why we cannot play games with these people. We cannot play games with these people. We cannot try to be reasonable with unreasonable people. We cannot. We can't sit around and think that this is just a difference of opinion. No, these are people who are willing to use the power of the government to infringe on our free speech while crying about us using our free speech to challenge theirs. We don't have the White House supporting our protest. We have nothing but our collection of individual voices protesting and deplatforming Nazis, for example. They have the literal White House using the force of the White House to compel not only speech, but compel humans to forcing them to do things with their body. The hypocrisy is not, the hypocrisy that I'm pointing out is not even the most important thing. The most important thing is that you understand that we have to hold the line with them. We can't back down with them. We cannot give them an inch. We give them an inch, they'll take a mile. If we give them an inch and we try to say, oh, it's totally okay for them to have their free speech without any social ramifications. Because that's really what they're going for. Because the only real example that we have right now, the federal government infringing on free speech, is what Donald Trump is doing to the NFL players. Right? That's the realest example. But yet, we on a regular basis hear all of these empty arguments and these fatuous arguments from people like Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, Sam Harris, and you come on over to the free speech absolutist left, the Zed Jalanis, the Li Fong, all of them who are constantly saying that Antifa or counter protesters, people who shout down Nazis, that we are an example of the violation of free speech. When in reality, the only thing the First Amendment protects you from is from the federal government, or the state government for that matter, from the government using its authority to violate your speech and compel your speech. See the imbalance? On one hand, we have the literal White House compelling speech and trying to stop protest. And nobody's saying anything about that. Not Zed, not Lee, not maybe Sam Harris. Sam Harris is the only one I saw write an article about it. Ben Shapiro's on board with it. Dave Rubin is kind of mum about it, trying to excuse it away as saying it's a corporate decision from the NFL. No, it's a corporate decision from the NFL that's being influenced by the White House. Therefore, it is an infringement, a true violation of the First Amendment. So on the one hand, they say that nothing. This NFL protest is not even an issue. They don't even talk about it as a free speech issue. On the other hand, if collective people, protesters get together and shut down Nazis, then we're violating their free speech. It's a disingenuous argument. It's not about the hypocrisy, because they're always going to be hypocritical, but it's about understanding that we cannot give credence to that argument. We cannot slow down our protest for fear of violating their free speech when we're not capable of violating their free speech from the First Amendment perspective. The only thing we're capable of doing is shutting down and deplatforming them with our free speech, with our right to protest. It's a clash of two protests, and whoever's the loudest is going to win. And that is what happens in the public square. They're trying to deny us access to shouting in the public square in the name of defending the free speech of Nazis. Meanwhile, they're not going to say anything about Donald Trump truly being a violation of the First Amendment. So the moral of the story is, on my birthday, as you get ready to exercise your free speech right and go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube and wish me a happy birthday, the moral of the story is this: do not think twice about shouting down a Nazi, a bigot, shout down a conservative who's spreading lies, shout them all down. Don't ever hesitate by using your First Amendment to challenge, using your free speech right, not First Amendment rights, but your free speech rights to challenge their free speech in a public square of competing ideas. Never let them give you a momentary pause, because they not only want to win in the competition of public ideas and in the public square where they can be publicly bigoted without having any social ramifications. That's ultimately the win they want. But now the silence on Donald Trump using the federal government as a means of violating the free speech of free men and women, they're silent on it. That's because they are willing to stand by and actually see the First Amendment destroyed, so long as it's destroyed, taking out their opposition. That's all I have for you today. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow with the full show. If this is your first time watching a patron's post, you should go ahead and become a patron. It might be a little tacky for me to say that today is a good day because it's my birthday for you to become a patron, so I'm not going to say that directly. Have a great day.